Alright, hello everyone, welcome to our show. We're here with Abram and Michael Boise. Did I say that correctly?
Yeah, sure. Boise works.
That's not how do you say it?
No, Boise's great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So, before we even start about the challenge, I want to know, what is your Sound Color Studios?
Well, we're actually in Sound Color Studios right now.
Yeah.
We'll kind of show you around, so...
Control.
Yeah.
Misbehavings, vibrations.
Stand in the way, there you go.
All right.
So this is the audio control room here.
Here. This is Mike's side of things, so I'm going to let him do it.
This is where we do all the editing, mixing, or video scoring, music, things like that. Isolation booth in there for like recording vocals or guitar or anything like that. Out there. Media studio. This is the audio section. There's a film area over there in the other room, and then art. Kind of just a mix of everything. There's 8 members here, so it's kind of like a collective.
Yeah. Hey, check this out. Check this out. It's Rolling Stones, Big Revival with Ken Chesney, and all of the different. Each one of these little tags is a show that Mike or myself has worked, and so Mike with shows in the world. As a matter of fact, I just got an offer to go do a show for the Rolling Stones in Cuba. So
oh wow!
Anyway, I got you.
Yeah, it's a kind of this actually was an old school building, and it's now inhabited by artists in each of the classrooms. So this is a classroom, and a lot of people that come in for concerts or shows that we put on here are actually like, oh, I used to have geometry in this class or whatever. So that's kind of it. Video editing booth over here. We do a lot of music videos, YouTube stuff, documentaries. One of the other members right now is working on editing for a documentary about the Beatles. And then Abram's working on his about the river that flows through our hometown.
Okay.
Not fun.
All right.
That's pretty cool though. How long have you been doing that?
We started the studio 2 years ago.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
I think sound color, the idea of sound color has been around for years, though.
Yeah.
And I've been trying to convince Mike that we should, I think, essentially do this.
Yeah, it's kind of like...
but he never wanted anything to do with my
super secret clubhouse.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool, though. A lot of people have asked on Twitter what that was since I announced doing this. So I just wanted to put that out there about you guys a little bit first.
It started as our own thing, just to create our projects, and as people came in and checked it out and saw what we were about, everybody else is like, oh, can you do this for me or that for me? And it kind of just turned into a business accidentally. So, yeah, really cool.
That's awesome. So the first question we have came from a fan about Challenge the Bloodlines is for Abram. They want to know, is your craziness real or is it an act for the show?
Dude, I've been telling people.
I can tell you he's crazy. We do work construction together too, so every day on the job, every few minutes, I've kind of just ignored it at this point. Damn it! Just things smashing. You're building something, taking it apart. But
on that note, I've said it to the camera many times. I think it's like 80, 90%. Actually, and then 10 to 20% just fucking with people. You know, an Kaufman joke that I've been playing for 12 years now, and I would tell the camera, I would tell the audience, I'm like, I'm not that crazy, but I just like fucking with it.
It's an inside joke that the other one on the inside of.
Yeah, it's been an inside joke.
That's awesome. All right, so the next question then is for Michael. Everyone wants to know, what is it that ended up making you come on the show? Because you say in your blog that you were very undecided about it for a long time. What was it that pushed you over the edge to say yes?
No, he was decided. He wasn't going.
Well, it was back and forth a lot. Like I didn't want to go, but there was definitely something inside me. It's like I should really do this. It's a chance I'm not going to get again. Mm-hmm. And I think the coolest thing was getting to have that perspective, different perspective, and come on there and kind of just see everything through his eyes. I mean, he's been doing it for 12 years now, I think. So, we're just so jaded by it at this point, and then getting to come in there and do that was really refreshing, and it was really cool. I'm really glad I went, but and mostly it was because he bribed me with a portion of it. That was the last thing.
That wasn't a bribe. That was extortion.
It wasn't extortion.
It was borderline extortion.
That's funny. Now, do you
ice cream?
Are you happy that you decided to go? Was it an adventure that you definitely didn't want to miss?
I'm very glad I went. I think it's something if I had not done it, I would have just been saying what if ever since, Been like,
now,
I could have done that.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Are you going to go back? Would you like to go back at some point? Or are you over it?
Yeah.
Maybe?
How they get you?
Just to kick some...
They got me, dude. Like at the end of the first, like, do you want to come back? I'm like,
yeah. I think it was something more like Survivor, where it's really more about the competing than the drama.
No. Survivor's all about the same shit, too.
Is it?
Oh, way worse.
Well, sure, I'll go back. We'll just kick some more ass and get some more money.
There you go. That works. Okay, so Abram, you've been on the show for 12 years, you said, correct?
I don't know, something like that. Somewhere between 12 and 14.
How old were you when you first went on your first show?
I had just turned...
21, maybe?
No, I had just turned 20, days before.
Okay.
And then... 3, so 13 years.
And then, Michael, how old are you now doing your first show?
I'm 29.
29, okay. So, when you were 20 doing this show, what is the difference between doing it when you're 20 and doing it when you're 29, other than physical ability and knowledge of the show?
Oh, well, I mean, number one, the physical ability and knowledge, I may have been in good shape, but I tell you what, I'd kick that 21-year-old's ass. I don't know why, because I'd get mace, and I'd club him over the head. I'd drown him in the pool. I would cheat. No. But I really don't see much difference between then and now. I feel like I showed up for that first show, and I was just excited. This is a cool adventure. And then I remember at the end of that show, actually, the guy who originally cast me, he said, you know what? It seems like there's two types of people to do these shows. One thinks it's a great adventure, and then they go home, and they go do their other stuff. And then there's another that it becomes like their whole world. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I think you're the first type. And I was like, I think you're right. I'm just going to go home, and I'm just going to be cool, and I'm going to forget about this. And it's gotten to the point where, we live in a town where we know everybody already, so it's not like it's anything new. It's just like, what have you been up to? Oh, I took off, filmed another show. I'm like, okay,
that's cool. That's the most interesting.
And nobody cares. Nobody cares. It's not that big of a deal.
It's like, oh yeah, I just went to Turkey on MTV on a reality show, and yeah, we're just hanging out at the bar. Coming back, who cares? It's like, no, that's cool. So it's on to the next thing,
Well, that's good though. Then that means it keeps you level-headed instead of being like big-headed.
Oh yeah, dude, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm looking at my phone for Twitter too to get questions from fans. But the next question is asking, Abram, do you really have an issue with Johnny Bananas, or is that just on the show?
No, actually, you know what? And you'll see in this season that I actually give a public apology on Bananas is not as bad as I made him out to be. However, and he knows this. And I told him, I was like, he kind of represented a lot of things I didn't like about the shows, and I really pinned a lot of my frustration and anger that I had with the shows on John because I felt like he represented it, which was unfair to him. That being said, he's he's still pretty clever, you know. And he knows it. He knows it. He's got no shame with it. So, and I don't like that. I disagree with that. And I don't think that, like, his whole, he always told me, like, no honor among thieves. So I'm like, that's a load of shit. If we were on a pirate ship and we were stealing shit, I'd throw you the fuck overboard. You're fucking me over, what I do.
Like, he makes no attempt to hide it. Everybody knows.
Everybody knows it.
Fall for it, which is
the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
And so, I mean, it's like, yeah, he maybe plays that way, but I can't get mad at him because he's making it obvious.
Yeah, and people are just dumbing up to believe bullshit. It's insane. It's like nobody's that dumb. And you're like, oh, wait, all of you are. It's amazing.
That's awesome.
I expected there to be a lot more drama and people to be much more condescending on the show. But honestly, between challenges and competitions and such, everybody was pretty cool people.
Yeah, that's good though. I feel like we only see the drama side of it because it's television. Obviously, that's what they want to see. But I feel like a lot of the people actually get along and mesh well, it seems like, for the most part. No?
No. I mean, it's definitely like, you know, it's like you go into a high school cafeteria and everybody's at their own tables, you know. But, yeah.
True.
There's only a handful of people out of all the shows that I continually talk to, and they're great folks. You know, like some I know in the entire world. You know what I mean? Like Hada, he's right up there in like the top 5 guys. The whole world. Ace is another one. There's a couple of other guys. Jeremy Blossom was a fantastic guy. Still love him. But the vast majority of people, I can't wait to fucking throw my away from them.
That's hilarious. That's fun though. Hey, speaking of the challenge, we just got to see you take out Steven a couple weeks ago, Michael. How much anger did you get out with that challenge? That looks like the perfect challenge for anyone whose like girlfriend just cheated on them, or their wife's left them, or their dog died, anything like that.
Actually, on that note, we had no idea of any of that information.
That's true, actually. Yeah, at the time
we had no idea
of that.
We were completely unaware.
Like we heard a couple rumors and such. We were like, I don't really buy it. I figured it was just like somebody's plan.
Yeah, what am I gonna do? Believe fucking Vince over?
Oh, well, I wasn't even referring to that. I just meant in general. Anyone who found out anything, that seems like something that you could get really angry about. That challenge.
Like jump in there and just start smashing people on the way.
You know what though? I was just and by the way, that episode was hilarious.
It was. I loved it.
You just can't say. It was like this Charlie Sheen moment where you're like, oh, you know it actually means that. It's just hilarious. Screamed it on national television, and the crew was just like watching, like, what are you doing?
Oh, you should have heard. Oh, anyway, we can say bad things here, right?
Yes.
TV is not going to be bleeped.
Yeah.
What was it during the smash and stuff? They probably would have just had to bleep out the entire thing. I mean, there was 30 minutes of this, of him screaming without stop. And one in particular, he's like, you fucker! You fucker! And everybody, camera crew was like, oh, we can't use any of this.
Oh my, that's terrible. But hey, it got you pumped though. He got you pumped enough that you went in there and smashed stuff and left with a win.
You know what? A lot of that anger came from just wanting him to shut up. And so it was getting more anger and smashing it. It does work. I guess it did work.
I was about to say, you were like way ahead, and you see Abram over there yelling, like telling you how much you suck and how you're failing. I'm like, he's doing amazing.
Oh, honestly.
I was dying.
I remember I took those shears and I was like trying to cut through them. It was harder than anything to do. And I was trying to cut through it like a knife, and he's like, "That's not how you use them." I'm like, ew. Just wanted to throw the scissors out, but it was way harder. Yeah, 30 minutes of that.
Yeah, I don't know. That episode so far has been the best. I loved it, and I love that you guys just threw yourself into the pit. I couldn't think of what it was called for a minute, because most players don't just throw themselves into an elimination round that easily.
Nobody does. And actually, I was jealous of Mike, because like Mike didn't want to go. He wanted just to like be done with this, so he was going to throw himself in each time.
Well, it wasn't just that. It was funny to me that nobody wanted to go in there. It's like, who cares? Just go. And I thought it was kind of funny to like take that away from them that nobody wanted to go, like, ooh, we can't do that. No. And just their heads, just be like, okay, whatever, just fucking throw me in there.
And I've wanted to do that for years, like for just like in all the shows. I just wanted to be like, go in and just go for blood. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Every time. Yeah.
Well, that's kind of how you have to be if you're going to win the show. You can't. I mean, some people get through without going into an elimination, but I feel like that's a cheap way to win.
Yeah, or you win. You know, like, I'll take it. Like it's like I'm playing a game of pool with somebody, and they like knock the 8-ball in. I'm like, I'll take that.
That's true. Well, have you ever won a challenge before, Abram? I haven't watched for the whole 12 years that you've been on.
I've actually won a bunch. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. I wasn't sure, to be honest.
Overall, as far as the individual challenges, money earned, and also like eliminations, like if you take it all together, like then you tally it. Someone's done a post, and I think I'm number 4 in the all-time winning males on the challenge.
Now, who was ahead of you then? Who was 1, 2, and 3?
I think CT was 1. I think Darrell was up there with me.
Ooh.
And I think actually John was right behind me, number 5.
Oh, no, Mike the Miz?
No, Mike.
The old name I remember is Mike the Miz, like from the original.
Yeah, Mike wouldn't be ahead of me. He the shows he started doing WWE Toughen Up, and then he went on to do an awesome career with WWE. Now he's doing films all over the world. I actually, the concerts and rigging company that we work with, I got to do a couple of the WWE shows, and so we're setting it all up. I'm like, hey, Mike, are you going to be here? He's like, yeah, I'm wrestling. I'm like, hey, dude, I'm putting on your lights. So we got to see her. It was really cool. Yeah, he got me a couple tickets, so I took my nephew to it with my brother-in-law, and we were cheering as we had the signs up. It was fun.
That's awesome. Now, do you think that laid-back attitude that you guys have about the challenge is an advantage or a disadvantage, like the carefree attitude?
I would say it was definitely an advantage.
Yeah.
Because we didn't give a shit about the politics, who was on our side or who was not on our side. It didn't matter. You get into those challenges, and it's pretty easy to smoke everybody else, especially since a lot of people are playing the politics and trying to throw it. You're just like, okay, well, I'll just throw it and win.
Yeah.
So. Very true.
By the way, this challenge was exceptionally weak as far as like competitors. Like I've done a lot of other shows where like you were looking at some tough motherfuckers to beat.
Yeah.
You know, this one this is just stupid. Like all time like trying to like fight kindergartners, you know what I mean? It's there wasn't competition there.
I got you. Now, well, that's because you've been on the show for a long time, so you're used to it. A lot of the people are kind of like newbies. There's not very many.
They sucked. There's not some people have been on the show for a long time. There was no competition in there. That's really what it was.
Makes sense. Now, speaking of, you said CT was ahead of you. You think? What was it like seeing CT on the show coming back? No one thought he was going to be coming back. I don't think this season.
You know, that was a more personal thing right there.
Yeah.
At least, like, you know, like I've known Chris, for years. I don't even know how. Yeah, his season of the Real World was the same season as mine. Like, because they would do Road Rules and Real World at the same time. Chris was the same year as me, actually. So we started the whole thing together. And we've done a bunch of promotions and traveling around the country outside of that. So I always liked Chris. He's a super nice guy, super sweet outside of the shows. And he's a beast when it comes to shows. So I love competing against him because he's tough, you know?
Yeah.
You know, but I think with him showing up was a big deal because of DM. That really hit home, and he kind of disappeared for a little while just to do his thing, you know, grieve, whatever he had to do. So I thought it was really great to see him coming back forward, and I was really, really, really happy to see him.
Yeah, he's a great competitor for sure. Were you guys afraid that he was going to come back to compete?
No.
Not really.
No?
What am I going to do? It'd be like, oh, no!
That's true.
That's what am I going to do? I'd be like, oh, well, I guess I'll just give up. Here's your money.
Yeah, I think a big weak point in a lot of the other competitors was their uncertainty or lack of, let's see, just faith in themselves that they can compete and do these things. And even though, you don't know what the challenges are going to be, coming into the situations knowing you're like, yeah, I can do that, sure. Cool. Either I can do it or I can't. And you might as well just come in with that mentality that you're going to complete it, and that's all it takes.
Yeah, and that's happened to me a lot of times. I'll be on a team, and everybody's like, well, who's going to go first? And everybody looks at me. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll do it, sure. And like that happened on this one. Like,
you went first on the building.
Yeah, the building, everybody's like looking at each other, well, who's going to go first? And I was like, everybody looks at me like, yeah, I'll fucking go first. I got this.
Yeah, I was really upset that I didn't get to go on that challenge, by the way. I was so stoked about that. And I was waiting at the end. I was really mad at Nisa for that because she didn't even go out. We should have stuck on the line because I was the last person on my team, and just by the end I was like, you fucking assholes.
Yeah.
I just was so bad. And that the cameras didn't do justice. It was really scary up there, but it was cool.
That's awesome. Now, since this is your first challenge, Michael, was there anything that you were nervous about with challenges-wise? Anything you were afraid of to go into, or just not so sure about at first?
Challenge? As I'd say no. The biggest thing that was hard for me to get over was cameras, because I'm usually behind the camera instead of in front of it. So even by the end of the challenge, you're used to it every day, from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed. But I'd always accidentally look at the cameras, I'd just be like, oh, shit. Also, you have to put on a microphone from the time you wake up, and you have to wear it till the time you go to bed. And they don't let you take it off. It's fine for that. So it was really hard to get used to that. I had nightmares after the show that there's cameras watching me while I sleep. Wake up out of your bed, and there's a camera in your face, just pull your blanket back out of your head.
That's crazy.
That's what I'm used to.
Yeah. Now, what was your guys' favorite thing about Turkey? Because we don't really get to see much of the country, just when you guys go out to nightclubs and stuff.
Call to prayer.
I was going to say the exact same thing. Call to prayer. That was cool. Like the first night Mike and I got into the hotel, and all of a sudden we stopped outside, like, wait, do you hear that? It was the call to prayer, Muslim call to prayer. It was beautiful. And then throughout the days while we were staying at the house, they actually they said you have to stay in the house and you weren't allowed on the grass.
Yeah.
Where they were going to find you. It's turned in from the original shows that I did to what it is today. It's just gone so far south. It's really a bummer to see the slow deterioration of the way they treat the cast members. But that being said, you make the best of it. And so we'd go up into the house far away from the rest of the cast, and we'd be sitting up there and you'd watch the sunset and you'd hear the call of prayer.
Yeah, that was definitely the coolest thing.
Really, just
the best thing was gorgeous sunset every single night.
Mm-hmm.
The location was really cool, and I was a little bummed that we didn't get to interact with the local culture as much as we would have liked to.
Yeah, just locked in a house.
Yeah. So I mean, the way that the filming went, we might as well have just been in a house in LA.
Yeah.
Wow. That is a little different. I think in previous years, didn't you guys get to go out a lot more? Not to nightclubs, but actually go out and explore?
Oh yeah, Darrell had to bribe the cops in Mexico to let me go one time at a club. Off day. I woke up in a lighthouse one time, with my face painted, my head shaved, and one shoe. I wandered out the door. I'm like, how the fuck did I get into a lighthouse? And I saw our house across the bay in Acapulco. We CT, David, Tim Beggy, who else is there? But some guys had stolen a taxi cab in Acapulco one day and caused trouble. And then we went golfing with stolen golf carts. We racked up a tab underneath somebody else's name, Dr. Goldstein.
So needless to say, the restrictions now are due to Abram's behavior.
Probably so. Probably so.
Very different now.
Yeah, you can tell, but it seems like everyone still has a great time, and it seems like most people make the best of it, like you guys, and it seems like you guys are so carefree about the challenge, which I love, because a lot of, a question that a Twitter fan just asked was, what do you think the difference is between your guys' carefree attitude and the career challengers who do this, as a career, basically?
Number one, I think a career challenger is just pathetic. I don't mean that in a rude way, but pathetic.
Yeah. I think, you know, as a career challenger too, they probably know what's gonna get the cameras over to where they're at, you know. So like, well, what kind of drama can we start here or there, and how can we make this a big dramatic thing? But yeah, I guess it just didn't really matter to us as much as it did to a lot of other people.
Yeah, so I guess you know, I mean, like, it may be not pathetic. I mean, like, they're doing their own thing. I get it. It's important. They've made a career out of it. Cool, good for them. You know, awesome. But for me individually, I've said it many times. If that was the high point of my life and career, I would be really disappointed in myself.
That's true. That makes sense.
Say one thing about that. One of the high points in my life was smashing that room with you yelling.
You know what? I like nothing against the shows. I've loved doing the shows, and I've gotten to have awesome opportunities and experiences. I'm super grateful for it. I'm excited, you know, whenever I get to go. I'm like, yeah, what else do I got better going on that week where I can't take off to someplace and go screw off and do some weird stuff? It's like,
I think the hardest thing about going on those shows is the sensory deprivation between filming days, because they take away any kind of games. You can't read anything. You can't watch TV, right? There's no pens. You have nothing, and so you can stare at the wall, or you can cause some shit.
Or actually, in my case, I really needed that vacation.
Yeah.
Like the sensory deprivation and not being able to answer my emails. I mean, I work a few different jobs. I'm exhausted, man. So the truth, going off to some place and not being allowed to answer emails or phone calls is a godsend to me. And like, what do you got to do it? Nothing except sit around and maybe go for a swim. I love it.
That's awesome. That's funny. Now, since you guys were an alternate team, we read in Michael's blog, it said that you only had a couple hours basically to prepare to go on the show, correct? So, Michael, this is your first challenge. What was that like? Basically getting a call, I think you said at midnight or something, and having to leave by the next morning. Were you kind of like mixed emotions there?
Like dread, like, oh God, I shouldn't have done this. Why did I let it go this far? Honestly, okay, when they sent me the contract, first they're like, oh, we're gonna fly you down to LA so we can get you guys shots and stuff. We're like, it's nothing, it's precautionary, you know. I call you. We're like, yeah, it's okay. It's a little fishy. And then they sent me the contract, and I was just like, all right, well, that's not enough pay. I'll just scratch that out and write in my own numbers.
Oh, yeah.
Not like whole sentences. I mean, you're signing your life away to these guys. If you get hurt, they're not paying for anything.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. And, like, there's all sorts of right in there, like, we're not responsible for emotionally destroying your life or your lives. They actually write that in their contract.
Put in there.
It's pretty intense.
That's crazy.
Mike was coming out. It was like I was dragging him like
as
nicely as I could. I had to coerce him to get onto the fucking plane.
I knew I had to do it, and then I had to go. I just really wanted him to know that I didn't want to go.
I was well aware.
Well, you had an upper hand, though, Michael, coming into this, because you have your brother. Like, everyone has a bloodline, obviously, but you had your brother, which is awesome, since he's done the show so many times. He could kind of try and keep you emotionally in check, I think.
Oh, definitely. I mean, once we got there, it was fine, and there's nobody else I'd rather go there with, you know. We work really well together. Everything we've done the past 14 years, 15 years, we've done together, like construction. We always wind up on the same job somehow. Projects we do, the studio, everything. And so I think we work really well balancing each other out.
Yeah.
So he makes things happen, and I kind of do planning behind it. So it actually really does work out. Like, the studio wouldn't have happened. A lot of the cooler things I've done in my life wouldn't have happened if it weren't for him.
And a lot of like the production that we're doing right now, like with the studio, wouldn't happen with Mike. So like he fills in a very large part of a lot of things that I can't actually technically bring to life.
Yeah, you can see that on the show too, that you guys work so well together. You guys just have, like, your personalities are similar but very different at the same time. So it's a nice balance. I think it's fun because I was worried when they said Abram's brother was coming in that you were going to be another crazy face.
Oh no, there's two.
Yes. Well, apparently, according to your blog, there's 5 of you, 5 boys.
There's a lot, yeah.
Yeah, there's 5 brothers.
That's crazy, but awesome at the same time. So I'm not sure if I can ask these questions or not, but I'll ask them.
Did we lose the call?
Say that one more time.
Oh, we just lost.
We just lost the.
Oh, there it is.
Okay, there you go.
Nope, I'm here. I just couldn't hear what you said.
Oh,
Okay.
go ahead.
So I'm not sure if I can ask these Twitter questions or not, but I'll ask them, and if you can't, just say no. So everyone wants to know, Abram, are you and Cara Maria still together?
Well, actually, we're getting married. Yeah, I didn't tell you about that.
Oh.
Decided to
No.
make up.
That's exciting.
Yeah, I'm fucking with you guys. No,
Oh.
no.
Okay. Just curious. Secondly, everyone wants to know, Michael, when you got home, was your girlfriend still waiting for you that you were still worried about losing?
She was, actually. And the thing is, we were
Awesome.
pretty in the relationship at the time I went over there, and she had just moved to town and knew nobody and came here basically to be with me. And then I'm like, okay, well, I'll see you later. I could be gone for a few months, I don't know. And we can't talk, we can't write, we can't communicate. So that made it pretty tough, you know. So it's just hoping that it all works out by the end, you know. And it did. So
Well, at least it made her independent. She could find her own way for a while.
well, yeah, I was like, well, get out there and check out the town, see what it's got to do for you, you know. So
Yeah. So, Michael, if you were ever to go back on another challenge, which format would you rather do? Like Rivals, Bloodlines, Single?
well, actually, if we could go and do Bloodlines again, and we could actually be on the same team, that would be fucking awesome.
Yeah, that would be cool. I think that would be a fun one to watch. So, Abram, are you going to continue to do challenges? Would you like to continue, or are you done? Would you like to be done?
Like, what do I got going on better for a couple of weeks? You know what I mean? And like, I've got great stuff going on out here, and like, I'm staying busy. You know, like, I just got the job offer to go to Cuba for the Rolling Stones. You know what I mean?
That's exciting.
It's not like things are too boring out here. We've got our studio, we've got work, I've got my new film. So, and then I travel on my own even outside of that.
Oh, okay.
Bottom line is that, like, I get paid to show up, you know, and that's really like the sinker. If they didn't pay me to show up, I don't think I'd be that interested.
Yeah, what'd you say? They pay us to show up and crap in their toilet, eat their food?
Like,
Drink some beer.
pay me to show up, yeah, I'm going to show up, but
Yeah.
honestly, if that money incentive wasn't there, I think I'd go find something else to do.
Yeah.
But that being said, I really enjoy, like, I've always enjoyed it. I've always thought it was really cool. I remember, and I still, like, show up, I'm like, I want you guys to scare the shit out of me. And then I show up 30 feet over the wall. You're like, this is boring.
I don't know. I think it looks pretty scary, some of it.
You know, like, the one on the top of the building was definitely scary.
That was definitely
I'm
scary.
not even trying to pretend like that was, like, so easy. But, like, you know, cargo net over a puddle of mud, you're like, oh my god, dude, this is so stupid easy.
That one looked really easy, actually.
Like,
I thought it was going to be tougher than it looked. Like, I thought it was going to have some sort of sinkhole, like a sinkhole or something, but it didn't have anything fun.
each other off the wall you were climbing down.
Alligators in the mud.
Yeah.
Just climb a
Yeah.
You're done.
So Andrew wanted to know, he says, were you guys bummed out that Cohutta and his cousin Jill were already off the show by the time you guys came in? Because I know you just said you loved him.
He's such a cool guy. Like, it would have made the show 100% better. If he
Yeah,
were.
man. And not only that, his cousin was a super cool chick. I got to meet her. Like, I actually saw them, like, the night before they were flying out. I was working a Kenny Chesney concert in Atlanta. And, like, I actually saw them the night before they flew out. And so, yeah, it was an absolute bummer that, like, I didn't get to go do a show with Cohutta. Like, he's just a great dude. I always hang out with him.
Now, why were you guys alternates instead of original members? Can you say that or no?
But no,
Yeah, sure.
we don't know.
Yeah, they don't
Oh, okay. So that wasn't your decision. That's just how it was.
No, like, they asked us, like, they do an initial call, and we're like, okay. And, like, I tried to find a couple different people that were willing to go. We were going through the process. It was a really intense casting process on this one because they had so many, because like each person had like 2 or 3 alternates they were trying to like, so they had to interview a lot of people.
Oh, okay.
People on the show. So I think that's a big part of it too.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad you guys came back because I think you guys add a lot of color to the show, and everyone loves seeing you guys on the show. We've had a lot of response from Michael. Abram's like the fan favorite, but Michael, you've had a lot of good response so far. Everyone is loving you.
That's good.
Yeah, everyone's loving you on the show.
I'm not sure, but
Yeah,
they're pretty funny. I mean, that's
you know, like, that's the thing is like, you know, it's always nice to have that positive response, you know. And I told Mike, I'm like, once has being on this show ever caused me grief?
Yeah, and you know my approach coming on the show is like, well, this is a chance to be on national television, and the whole approach I did to it was like, I didn't want to talk. I wanted to see if I can make it through positive influence, and just by competing for myself in each of these challenges is what I did, and it was very possible to do that. And I was hoping, you know, it's like there's some crap on TV now, and all it does is teaches us to be shittier to each other. So go on there and be cool to other people and be a good person and still make it through, then why not, you know?
Yeah, it kind of shines a light, like, look, you don't have to be a total asshole, and actually being a total shitbag is probably a bad choice in your life, you know? And it's good that there's at least, you know, one person out there that's willing to say that and stand up for it.
Yeah, I agree. I think you guys play the game well. Now, is there anything that you'd like to share about the show or about anything that fans might find interesting before we wrap up in the next couple of minutes? What is something that like fans would like to know that is kind of kept behind the scenes?
I think a lot of the things that you would like to know actually are going to be colored on board. And I'm not just trying to like shamelessly plug it, which I am doing, but
I'm not going to wear the T-shirt or anything.
I'm not going to wear it. I'm not going to sell out like that. No, but in reality, there's just so many other things that are going on, and really that was a big reason for us to even do the show at all, was because of things that are happening here in this studio with other films, with the comic books, with the art, with the music. That was a really big part of going on the show, and so I'd say every decision we made was influenced by Sound Color Studios as a whole.
That's awesome. Do you guys have can you say your website link and the Twitter link for your studio so everyone knows it?
Sure. Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, they're all Sound Color MT for Montana. So just Sound Color MT. And then the website is soundcolorstudios.com.
That's super simple. Some people have really hard websites and it's frustrating. Now, lastly, if you guys want to plug in anything else about your studio real quick, go right ahead. Anything we should be keeping a watch for from you two?
He's actually working on a feature-length documentary about the Yellowstone River, which flows through Livingston, where we live. And it's the last longest undammed river in the United States, and they're wanting to put a dam. This is protest to that and shedding some awareness on this because a lot of it has gone under the radar. So that's our big project and our big push right now.
That's awesome. Really cool that you're trying to raise awareness about an important cause with your documentary. So that's pretty much everything that I had for you guys today. Thanks so much for stopping in and being able to do this interview with us. I really appreciate it.
You got it.
Thank you so much.
All right, have a great rest of your week, guys.
You too.
Bye.